Alright, I am here right now to tell you about one of the most important tips in my fishing that apparently I kind of let out of the bag during last week's live stream, and I got a ton of messages afterwards about it. It's one of those things that I've been doing for like over 10 years, had no idea that it wasn't something that other people were doing. Now I'm sure there's other people out there doing this. It's really, it makes sense once I mention this. But overall, you know, what had happened was we were just doing a dump out of my tackle bag and cleaning it out and going over, you know, some of the stuff that I keep in there. And I held up this one little item, this little packet. And this little packet has saved me so much money over the years. You know, I swap these out once a year. It's silica gel. This is like the best kept secret that apparently I had, and yeah, I'm sure there's other people out there using this, but apparently there's a lot that didn't know about it. Yeah, after last week's live stream, I had so many messages and conversations with people about the fact that they had never thought of this and how useful this could be. Well, let me explain it a little bit for those of you who weren't part of that live stream. Silica gel, it's for taking moisture away from containers and things like that. I found out about this accidentally. I was eating a bag of beef jerky. We all know these are in there. I didn't want to throw it on the ground while I was fishing. I threw it in my tackle bag. I noticed quite quickly within, you know, the first couple of sessions what a difference this made. If you don't want rusted hooks, rotting plastic, you know, any of those problems in your tackle bags, this little bag of silica gel makes all the difference in the world. So, you know, for what we were doing, I just dumped out my tackle bag. That was in there. You know, I've got my hooks, I've got anti-tangle sleeves, I got hook links, things that you don't want just sitting in moisture all the time. Now, I fish in all weather. I fish if it's raining. Last week in particular, I was fishing out in the snow. That stuff gets in your bag, and it makes a huge difference if you have something fighting against that, because, you know, once we zip this up and go home, not all of us remember to open all this stuff back up when we get home. So, you know, a tackle bag, yeah, that's a great example for us carp guys out there. The PVA bag, you know, I've got all kinds of different things in here, but I've got my solid bags in there, I've got mesh in here. The last thing I want is that getting wet, so I always keep a silica gel packet in there. Same thing for electronics. If you've got cameras, you know, microphones, batteries, power packs, things like that, this makes a huge difference. And it's not just restricted to those of us that go around with a camera bag or do some carp fishing. My ice fishing box right here, for example, you know, that is going to be full of moisture at the end of a session. Keeping a silica gel packet in there will take care of that problem for me. I won't go in there for my next session the next time I get on the ice and have my teardrop hooks all rusted up or anything like that. All you had to do was go on Amazon. Literally after the live stream last week, it was like 2 in the afternoon, I put in an order for a bunch of silica gel packets to replace the little ones that obviously I needed to swap out. It was super cheap. I think I paid like 12 bucks for a packet of 30. These are actually bigger packets, so that's even better for me. And it just comes in a bag like this. I literally had this in less than 24 hours. This came on, we did the live stream on the Saturday. I had these on the Sunday. Obviously having Prime helps. Just throw that little plug in there. But yeah, super cheap, super easy to get. And the value that this adds by saving you money on not ruining your equipment just from having all that moisture sitting in there because you got home from fishing and you were too tired to actually open everything up, or maybe you had somewhere else to be, it was a quick overnighter, had to go to work the next day. You just don't have time to lay all this stuff out. Sometimes this sits in the car for a couple of days, right? One little packet in the ice fishing bucket, right? I can leave that in there for the season. Keep one in camera bag. With the PVA bag, I can just tuck it in anywhere, right? Depending on the type of tackle bag you have, like with my tracker one here that I use, this bits bag, I've got these little dividers, you know, tuck it in right in the front of the back divider. It's completely out of the way. Nobody's going to know that it's there. It's not going to be interfere with any of your gear, and it's going to do its job. It's going to get that moisture out of there. So yeah, any number of things you can do with it. You know, I've got my bucket over here as well that I keep like my stick mix in. If I want to keep that stick mix dry, I can throw this in there with that. Now, one thing I don't recommend doing, if you've got bags of boilies or bags of pop-ups and you want to keep a little bit of moisture in there to keep them softer, don't throw these in. These will suck that moisture out and they'll go really hard. Now, if you're going to be fishing a location where you need those baits to be hard, crayfish or anything like that, it's going to attack them, then maybe this would be the right thing for you. So yeah, a super cheap option and super easy. Literally every winter, January, February, I sit down, I dump out all my gear, I swap out the Silica Gel Packets, you know, then I'm good for the year. I don't have to worry about that. Like if I go into my big bass tackle box, there are crankbaits that never got used because I went out fishing in the rain, moisture got into the trays and stuff like that, and yeah, I got a bunch of like expensive crankbaits that I have to swap out all the hooks on because that was before I was doing this. Yeah, what can I say? The best kept secret that apparently now I've let you know. Try them out. It'll make a difference, trust me. But yeah, super chip.